Well, I think to answer the first part of that question, men like Alexander Stephens and Jefferson Davis and others made no bones about slavery as the reason, the threat to slavery posed by the incoming Lincoln administration as the reason for their secession. In 1861, the pro-slavery argument was alive and well. It was a respectable argument in the South, even a respectable argument in parts of the North. They may not have wanted slavery for themselves. Stephen Douglas, for example, said, we don't want it here in Illinois, but any state or territory where they do want it, they should have the right to have it. And so there was nobody who was saying in the South, or not, I shouldn't say nobody, but the majority opinion in the South, the majority consensus in the South is that slavery was a positive good. Once the war was over and slavery had been abolished, and once Southerners realized that they had very little support in the world, if you will, for slavery as the basis of the good society. That's one of the principal reasons why the British hesitated, backed away. Once the North made it clear that they were fighting for emancipation, that's one of the principal reasons the British backed away from recognition of the Confederacy. I think it came as something of a shock to Southerners to realize that their institution had not only been abolished but discredited in the eyes of the world. And if that institution was discredited in the eyes of the world, then the Confederacy itself would be discredited in the eyes of history. So it became a psychological necessity, I think, for them to deny that the war was about slavery, that they were fighting for the preservation, defense, perpetuation of that institution. And so they developed a series of alternative explanations for their raison d'etre, for their reason for existence. And states' rights became one of those. A kind of cultural nationalism became an explanation for the South was different. It ought to have the right to govern itself, and that they had fought for this right of self-government, for the right to have their whatever institutions, and it wasn't just slavery, it was a lot of other institutions, and that was the reason, that was the cause for which they were fighting.
This excerpt is brought to you by the Massachusetts School of Law, the leader of reform in legal education and a leader in multimedia education for the public. To view the full interview and for a full listing of MSL's programs, log on to mslaw.edu.